All right, welcome to the Not.a.prepper channel. I am Not.a.prepper. So I have an Arctic King chest freezer. Here's some notes that I have for it. I decided I wanted to try to test how long an Ecoflow Delta 2 would run this particular Arctic King chest freezer. This isn't a very big one. I think I measured it. It's around 32 inches tall by about 25 inches wide by about 21 length or depth. So there's a bunch of notes on here. I could not find exactly how many watts this particular chest freezer would actually use. So like I said, it's not very big. I'm about to kind of stand up next to it and kind of measure it. I didn't have a tape measure at the time. I've since measured it and got the dimensions. So it's a little bit shorter than where my hip is. So I decide to use my own arm. So it's about a span and a half wide or so. And actually, when I did measure it, it was like 25 inches wide. Obviously, it's going to be smaller than that on the inside. I think I'm actually going to open it here in a minute. And I got a little bit of ice buildup, not too bad. Got some miscellaneous foods in there. So it's one my whole family uses. So here I've got my Ecoflow Delta 2 sitting on top of it. I've got my freezer plugged into it. But at this moment in time, the Ecoflow, well, excuse me, the freezer's compressor is not running. So it's not drawing any energy. And at this moment in time, I'm hoping that that's the only reason why. Okay, so here I've got it. It's actually, the compressor is running. It's drawing about 87 watts per hour. My battery's at 99% at this time. If it were to run like this, it would only last 12 hours. So at this point, okay, yeah, I'm pointing at the 87 watts. 12 hours if it were to continuously draw 87 watts. A refrigerator or a freezer is not going to run at that speed all the time, or the compressor's not going to run. So I actually started this around, I want to say 11:30. This particular clip I filmed at about 12:30. Yeah, I'm just checking my notes. It looks like about 12:30. So it's actually used about, 1.5% just in that short amount of time. I'm just making sure I've actually got my my clip here sped up, because watching a battery like this would be like watching paint dry. So I'm trying to speed up my video so I can get through this. I'm not sure if there's going to even be any changes in this small amount of time. One of the things with an Ecoflow, or I would assume most of their product, the LCD screen or whatever is being showed, it uses energy. It doesn't stay on the whole time. It actually kind of goes into a power down mode, just like that. Then I have to run back in and reset it. So here I'm at about 90%. It's drawing about 84 watts per hour. At this rate, it would take 10 hours. This particular clip, I think it's about 2:45 in the afternoon. And so I've only used about 10% of the battery. All right, just to reiterate here, the compressor does not run nonstop. The compressor itself goes into sort of a powered down mode. I don't know how long those last. My guess would be that the internal temperature of a freezer or a refrigerator would determine when the compressor turns back on and tries to cool everything down. So how often it runs would vary. Depends on how many times you open your freezer. Depends on how hot it is outside, how hot it is in your house. If you put one of these freezers in your garage, I imagine it would run a heck of a lot more if it got really hot outside or got really hot in your garage. My chest freezer is actually inside. It's a fairly consistent temperature, so I think that this would be pretty much standard, almost year round for me, at least where my freezer actually is. So again, results will vary depending on the type of freezer you have and where it is located at your house. Okay, getting my notes ready for my next clip here. So in just a second here, the LCD screen, yeah, just powered off. All right, so I've come back in, checked my battery again. This particular clip I filmed about, it was almost 5:30. So I'm down to 80, well, excuse me, I've got 82% of my battery left. It's not drawing any energy from the compressor's not drawing any energy at this moment in time. At this rate, it would take 74 hours to go through the entire battery. We're not going to sit here and watch it do that. Okay, getting my notes ready again. So basically, I clip my video. I try to clip them right after the LCD goes into its power save mode. So it should be doing that here in just a second. All right. Maybe, there it goes. New clip started. All right, so this particular clip, oh goodness, it's about 6:58 p.m., almost 7 p.m. I've still got 74% of my battery left, drawing 87 watts. It looks like it would still have about 8 hours drawing this amount. All right, so I get to the point where I realize I'm not going to try to run this all night. I have to go to work the next day. I don't want my battery to die or have everything in my freezer go bad. So I actually stopped this video test around almost 8 p.m. And so I've still got 66% of my battery. So between about 11:30 and 7:30, that's about 8 hours. So I used 1/3 of the battery in 8 hours. 8 hours times 3 would be 24 hours. So to use 100% of the battery, it would take about 24 hours. So conclusion, end result, my Ecoflow Delta 2 would run my Arctic King chest freezer for about 24 hours. So again, depending on what kind of freezer you have, temperature around it, where you actually have it, results may vary, but I do like my Ecoflow Delta 2. So if you could, throw a like in there, comment if you got a question or want me to test something else. I really appreciate it if you subscribed. All right, that's about it.